What a win. What a win. Everybody, what's up? I see y'all in the chat section. K, Jamar, Herb, what's up? Sexy Scenarios, Main Money, all y'all, what's going on? Welcome to the show, man. Appreciate the love and support after a fantastic Sixers win. It took overtime. It shouldn't have took overtime to get here. But nonetheless, it took it for us to get this W. But we got this W. But listen, I'm going to say, and I hate to do that. I hate to do this, but I'm gonna say I told y'all so. Because I told y'all so. I said the boy Trez need to be starting over PJ Tucker at power forward. That's all. Tim is crying. We need to make trades for Collins. We don't need all that. All we need is for Doc to put Trez into the starting lineup, and we won't lose a game. No more games for the rest of the year. We won't lose another game if we start Trez to power forward, as long as we got the rest of the starting five in there. And that's B, Maxey, and Harden, and maybe Melton if you want to put Melton in for Maxey. But nonetheless, Trez had a monster game. He was all over the court, scoring, dunking on cats. I like how I think Trez got to listen to the show. Because remember I said he misses layups. So what did Trez do? He dunked the ball every single time he had it down low. And that's all you ask for. You got the ball, you go up, and you bang it on their heads, barbecue chicken. That's why we won the game. What's your thoughts? Because I got a lot more to say. I really want to do a solo show for real. Y'all can log out and just let me go. How about that?
Well, I think we all pretty much said PJ was the black hole on offense, but
I said the answer was Trez.
I had no problem with playing Trez. I said Paul Reed or Trez should be starting at the power forward, but you can go ahead and tickle your fancy how you please.
My fancy not tickle. Thank you.
That being said, excuse me, y'all, I'm a little under the weather today. But that being said, we gonna put. I mean, it was a lot of talk going on, calling Toby what we called to my trade. Toby hit the free throws.
No, he did.
Toby came through in the clutch. Toby had 19. Toby had 19 to 10. What John Collins had tonight. But I agree with you about the trade. See, my thing is Trez should be starting at power forward and move Toby to small forward. That's what I'm thinking. If you know what I'm saying, with the team as constructed right now. But Melton came through and balled out again. Melton did his thing. Maxey looked a little bit more comfortable. It looked like he's slowly getting himself in the position. And other than them choke free throws Harden gave us down the stretch, I was all right with Harden game. But them daggone free throws, boy, this supposed to be your bread and butter. You missed two.
He was 8 for 8.
Fortunately, Toby picked him up. Yeah, I mean, fortunately, Toby played. Toby made play week. He gave you 19 and 10 tonight when you was missing your center. I remember some people saying how a lot of people be talking about how Bede ain't no closer, this and another, but it sure looked like we could have used a closer today, don't it? When we was up, and then all of a sudden nobody could man the ship.
All right, so here's my little 2 cents. Toby's hot garbage. Tobias Harris is hot garbage.
No, he's not.
Yeah, first of all, he was
getting what's Collins doo juice.
He was getting a shot 8 left and right. He missed key. I mean, you talking about the key free throws that he missed, but he also missed the key layup, which led to them coming back into that. The closer, I do say we do got a closer. His name is DeAnthony Melton. That's our close on the team.
It's going to change game to game for you, huh?
What was happening going down the stretch was Maxey Harden was taking all the shots, and they went on a 21-6 run. As soon as Melton, he hit the big time 3-pointer, hit the layup. He wouldn't let us lose this game. He refused to let us lose. Him and Trez, I gotta give props to Trez. Trez balled, but I'm still irritated with Doc, man. Doc gets on my nerves because you had an opportunity to give some playing time again to Paul Reed. He decided not to. Paul Reed came to the scorer's table. They called the timeout. He never got in the game. If you look at the box score, he got all lines because he actually was about to enter the game. It wasn't a DNP. It was we changed our mind. That irritates me. Doc won't develop this. This dude has talent. Develop him. That's all I'm saying. You're going to need him in the playoffs, so you develop in the regular season. I mean, it was a good win. Beyond Indiana Pacers, they look good. If you look at
a good team. I mean, they're right behind us.
You look at Halliburton. Halliburton got steals. He had Harden on ice a couple times. I mean, they came back and made that run, but it was a good victory, but I'm disappointed with Paul Reed not playing.
Let me add some X-Man real quick. X-Man, my point is Collins is not an upgrade over Tobias. That's my point. If you have a player on your team that contributes to your team and is a part of the chemistry of your team, you don't just trade him just to say, let's trade and bring in something else that's not even better than him.
I agree with that. No, I agree with that. And I don't agree with Tim. I agree with Tim saying about Paul Reed. I do not agree with him saying that Tobias hot garbage. Tobias was 8 for 19. I mean, he got a shot beat up a couple times. We already know Tobias' limitation. Tobias was one shot away from being 50% from the field. He grabbed 10 rebounds. So I'm good with 18 and 10. You give me 18 and 10, I'm straight.
19.
I'm 19 and 10. I could rock with that. And as far as Melton goes, Melton is a good player. Melton's a very good player. I'm not going to go out on the limb and say he's a closer, but I will say after B, he might be, until Maxey gets his groove back a little bit, he might be the best closer after B. Because I'm starting to see, I saw a couple comments talking about Harden being a little bit of a choke artist. If your Harden's a career 80+ free throw shooter, and you miss 2 free throws in the clutch. Now, I mean, it's just one time, but I'm starting to question, and I normally don't do this to players, but I'm starting to question this clutch gene. And because we've seen Harden come up, he played against some good teams, but we've seen Harden had some really bad games in big situations before. But I don't want to completely crucify him on this particular game, missing these 2 free throws. Be it though, they were very huge, and then Tobias came down and did his thing and iced the 2 free throws, which I got to give a lot of credit for too. So hot garbage don't go 18 for 19, almost 50%, and then make 2 clutch free throws in the clutch in the crucial parts of the game. But so and real quick, before we start getting all hype on Melton, and Melton had a good game, that steal by Maxey was huge. If he
Maxey and Harden both had clutch steals.
Maxey Harden had that clutch block. That block was huge.
Yeah, block.
But if Maxey don't get that steal, this game is over. That steal was huge for the dunk. And then Toby fouled up that block that Harden got. Maxey went down, drove, missed the layup. Toby fouled up with a huge layup. So them 2 plays actually was the reason why this game went to OT, and then we end up winning.
I'm not the Harden slander that's going on in there. I mean, did he miss the game? Yep, I agree. He did. He almost blew the game. But he's also had games where he's hit them clutch free throws down the stretch, and where he's hit big baskets down the stretch. I mean, he hit a couple big baskets on against the Pelicans the other night. So let's stop with the extremes. You know what I'm saying? That's like calling Tobias hot garbage because he goes through a bad stretch. Like, I'm not saying you, but I'm saying there's a lot of slander in the comment section on Harden. But I think we're all in agreement on one thing. We may argue about anything, but the PJ Tucker experience. So he's just starting center. He gives you 0 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist. First of all, he played 25 minutes. You like Tim said, you tell me Paul Reed can't get any burn on that? You can't get any burn on that? PJ Tucker missed 0 for 4. What is he out there really doing? Like he's just out there. He's a body leaning on somebody. And yo, in the comments, X-Man, I was at the game the other day, I'm trying to tell these dudes, boys sleep on Harden defense. Like Harden may not be out there like strapping people out on the perimeter and all that. But when guys try to body him up, like I saw a couple times when what's his name tried to body him up, Harden don't just get bodied up and abused, especially on the drives.
But Harden is like a one-dimensional defensive player. You could get past Harden fairly easy out on the perimeter, but I do agree once he gets down low, you can't. He got very quick hands to get in there and get a lot of strips, and you can't body him. But it's not hard to get past Harden when you on the perimeter playing defense. But once you get down low, I do agree he plays. I mean, he don't disappear. He don't just fall underneath the basket and you can just do whatever you want. So I mean, it's solid in context. I guess I'll say that about Harden. But I mean,
he's not complete trash on the perimeter. He gets some steals. He does have quick hands out there. He don't got quick feet, but he has quick hands out there.
That's what I'm saying. But it's once you kind of get a step to get him on either the right or left, you could get around Harden fairly easy. Now he can recover.
You can get around a lot of people. You can get around Maxey fairly easy. I mean,
not as easy. I seen it look a little.
You think Maxey a better defender than Harden?
That still Maxey had was huge and then won the game for us.
So it was the block that Harden had. But you tell me you think Maxey's a better defender than Harden?
I would take Maxey defense over Harden, yes. And like I said, where it's at in the perimeter. Harden, that's what I'm saying. Harden is like a 50-50 defensive player. Most of the time at the perimeter, you can get around Harden pretty easy. If you do a little hezzy on him or something, you can get him going, rocking to the left. You easily go to the right, pass him, and his recovery time ain't good. But if you get him down low and try to body him, Harden, he thick. Pause.
But when you do stuff like that, Harden can also switch. Harden can, when you try to run those pick and rolls, Harden can actually bump the big men and not let them just roll through that. Whereas though, so I think his defense, especially in context when Embiid's on the floor, I think it works. You know what I'm saying, a little bit, but I think it's overstated about how bad he is defensively. Has he been at certain times in his career? Yes, but he's not a horrible defender.
No, I didn't say horrible. Not at all. Excuse me. Nicholas Hill said the only thing I can say about Harden minutes might be catching up to him. Looks sluggish down the stretch. Big props for his defensive effort in crunch time. I can agree with that too. I mean, that's why you got to be balanced with them older players who at times Harden has let himself go physically a little bit and then had to play himself back into shape. So you do gotta be careful. And he was injured early this year, so you gotta be careful with how many minutes did Harden get tonight. Harden played 42 minutes. That's a lot of minutes.
When you don't got Embiid, he got to try to carry the load a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, then the overtime don't hurt. That's why you don't want yourself going into overtimes, especially too many times throughout the year. That could end up being a whole. Depending on how many overtimes you go into, you might end up playing a whole extra game by the end of the year if you go into too many. I think this is our 4th overtime this year or something like that. So, I mean, all being said, we shouldn't have won the overtime. We had a 10-point lead. I think like 11-point lead at one point in the 4th quarter. And like Tim said, we started breaking. They came back, boom, 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 started scoring like crazy. Fortunately enough, we was able to get in overtime with a couple huge defensive plays, and we was able to ice the game in overtime with a couple of huge offensive plays, particularly by Trez and by the boy DeAnthony Melton overtime. Huge. Got to go with Trez from here on out. Ethan said your boy MCW 2.0 got cooked. No, that's what X-Man said that. He said, Ethan, your boy MCW 2.0 got cooked. And Ethan said he's a horrible defender. Ethan in the comment section hating on Harden saying he's a horrible defender. I don't agree with that either. Next time, come on the show to prove your point. But I'm not agreeing with that.
Yeah.
At all.
I'm again looking at big picture, seeing exactly how we're gonna match up against the powerhouses in the East. I still have concerns, and I think if we don't make a trade, I do believe that if you switch positions and have Trez be your starting power forward and have Paul Reed be your backup center, you got a legit chance of competing with everybody in the East. So I'm going back to Doc Rivers. I'm dissatisfied with his coaching. We're winning games, but is this going to be sustainable in the playoffs? Or is this a winning formula in the playoffs?
I mean, and this is what I get it. I get it because we look at the Sixers every day and we see all the little chinks in the armor and everything else. But guess what else? Everybody got weaknesses. Everybody got something they got to deal with, this, that, and the other. You know what I mean?
But the playoffs exposes weakness.
Okay, I hear you. But
nobody game playing.
Well, if that's the case, don't watch nothing to the playoffs then. Don't watch no regular season. Don't come in here. No. Listen,
what you do.
Don't come in hyping up the Cavs. The Cavs look for real. You see Donovan Mitchell drop 71. It was regular season. It wasn't playoffs, so it don't count.
So you're saying that you're okay with the lineup, the rotation, everything is fine right now.
If we can tweak it and do something, yes. But I'm not just saying we got to make trades. But like, how do you
don't make a trade?
How do you know?
Rotation change.
How do you? I mean, I'm fine with that too. I've been saying that all season. But how? This is my thing. You sitting here and you saying, well, I'm as constituted now. Like, how do you know? How do you know in 2 weeks that starting lineup won't start clicking like that? You see that all the time, like where the team might not look or a team look great. Then they go through a stretch and look like hot trash. Boston just lost to OKC without SGA.
Doc Rivers felt that a 6'11"
that great defense gave up a buck 50.
That 6'5" PJ Tucker was good enough to stick a 6'11" center. He thought that was okay. when you got a center on your bench.
Listen, I do agree with Tim. I mean, Jay Carr, he said we 3 games out of first place with a terrible start. How y'all not happy? I'm happy. Wayne is happy. Tim not happy. But I do understand Tim's concern with Doc and his PJ Tucker thing. And that's why I've been saying what Herb just said is 10 million reasons why PJ Tucker is playing over Harold. I told you it's all about politics. But I will say this. Doc better get out of politic mode when the playoff time come around, because playoffs come around and he's still starting PJ and we lose, it is going to be a nightmare for him, especially if Trez keep playing the way he playing. Because now this game Trez just had, I'm telling you, after every game now, if PJ come up small, you're going to have reporters, why did Trez only got 3 minutes and PJ got 36 and all this? You're going, why Trez get 16 minutes and PJ got 30? You're going to hear that all year long. Trez is making a name, or not even making a name for himself, because everybody pretty much, he's already a good player. He's making an argument to be a starting power forward on this team. And if it don't happen sometime soon and we don't win like we supposed to win, it's going to be a nightmare for Doc. And I'm going to be leading the charge because I know he listened to the show.
Yeah, man, you're right. PJ don't finish the games, but that's why, even the whole fact that he brings nothing to the team on most nights. I hear the hustle and running around and this, that. I ain't trying to hear all that.
Scrappy though. He is scrappy.
Yeah, he is. But against certain teams, like he was doing a whole bunch of scrap and wasn't doing nothing of consequence when the Pelicans was in town the other night. Like PJ just looked like a bowling ball rolling around out there, just going from corner to corner. He was a gutter ball. He wasn't even hitting pins. He just was like rolling here to side to side. So, I mean,
that's his game.
Listen. This is all I'm saying. Tim be straight up in panic mode. Let the Sixers win. Then after the Sixers win like 5 straight, he be like, "I think we the truth. We got it." But you're panicking
in the playoffs.
You're panicking, like man said. We're in third
round of the playoffs.
We got off to a bad start. Embiid was hurt for a stretch. Harden was hurt for a stretch. Maxey is just now coming back, and we only 3 games out of first. Like,
what trying to do?
What are we doing?
Tim learned his lesson a little bit. He learned his lesson, but he didn't. Tim is hard-headed. He learned his lesson when me and Ethan 2 years ago prognosticated, if I'm using that word correctly, that the fall of Ben would happen in said playoffs. Now, Tim and Wayne didn't listen to us because
nope. We're going to talk about it the right way. Don't do that.
Can I finish my monologue? Can I finish?
Then don't keep my name out your mouth. Okay. You ain't going to use it correctly.
Okay.
Finish your monologue, Shan.
Some people thought that me and Ethan was wrong in our assessment. All right.
Y'all was.
We look forward to the future, even though I tried to stay in the moment. Thank you, Tim. Let me get my shine.
Please get that. That's too much brightness. The light off his head, his skin is all pale. He got the white shirt. God dang, I need some sunglasses.
This is what they came for.
No, they.
So we was right in what happened in the downfall come playoff time, because we kept telling Tim that playoff time is a different animal. And come to playoff time, when people start keying in on Ben weaknesses, he gonna fold like a lawn chair. And
what was his weaknesses?
So now Tim, he couldn't shoot free throws. We always said one of the weaknesses.
No. That's not what y'all said. We don't change the narrative.
We said he couldn't. We said he refused to shoot, and his free throws is bad. That was a precursor to him being a bad shooter as well. His free throws are suspect. And
him shooting wasn't what hurt us. It was his free throw.
It was 2 of them free throw, and he wouldn't shoot the ball. So
he wouldn't. No, it wasn't even that he wouldn't shoot. He wouldn't touch the ball. See, this why y'all not going to change the narrative.
No, he did. He passed it to Thibault.
He did, but you're not going to change the narrative because y'all. This is what you're not going to change the narrative. My whole thing is, I said the whole season was he needs to shoot free throws. If he shoot, I don't care if he can shoot jump shots. As long as he shoot free throws, he has to make the free throws, and then you can win with Ben like this. Okay. That's what I said the whole time. But y'all, no.
All that being said,
like he's winning right now in Brooklyn because they're not making him the second option. That's how you.
Well, you said Ben should have been the first option here, so don't sit here now talking about something not making.
Where you went with Ben?
Charlie M. Thank you.
I said what I said. Yeah. I've said it the whole time that Ben needs to shoot better free throws.
Listen, and my thing.
And I said if he don't shoot free throws, he's going to be scared to attack and not going to attack the basket.
But my point was in the whole argument is that this was exposed during when. the playoffs. So
not the first round, it wasn't.
Now Tim is trying to
not
look.
The first round, it wasn't.
And you know what I said too? And I told y'all, I said and I'm telling you, if I could go back and get this pod, I said it wasn't going to happen in the first round. I said it was going to happen in the second when the teams really got better. I said we can get past the first round with Ben. I said, but in the second round, it's going to be a wrap, and that's what happened.
No, but what happened was,
but now
Tobias got exposed, and they put more pressure on.
Forget all that.
So the pressure was flipped. And so that's what happened. It wasn't about Ben. It was like your second best player who you just paid all that money for. It was about Ben. Short. So everybody blamed Ben for.
But what you're trying to do now, fast forward to 2023, is you're trying to prognosticate and get that vision of Sixers playoff basketball and see what possibly could be our downfall. You're trying to get ahead of the curve, and I dig that about you. I respect it.
Echo.
That's you.
I don't hear one.
I hear a little echo, but I think it's Tim. He need to do something different.
No, that's the empty space that he hear the echo
in his head. But what Tim is trying to do now is say, what's going to be our problem? And our problem is not what you're saying it is. Our problem is going to it is kind of what you're saying it is.
No, he's right about what we're saying. The problem is
over Trez is going to be a problem.
My only problem is like don't make it like it's doom and gloom. Like this the part I can't stand. Like, well, we ain't going to when the playoffs get here. The playoffs is months away. Like how about we just focus on looking at now, enjoying what's going on now, looking at what the team is now, and see. Like when the season started, Tim was saying like he don't think we ever could beat the Boston Celtics. That's just like when Net last year, the Nets got a monster team, can't nobody beat the Nets. And I mean, at some point you got to line up, you got to lace them up and play. The Bucks ain't even had Middleton; they still winning. I was told that it's no longer a big man league, that you can only win with all guard teams and all this other stuff. But you got teams.
Who told you that?
So you're basically saying the way the roster is constructed right now, you feel that we can compete with the other four teams?
Yes, I think we can compete with them. Yes. Now with PJ in there, do I think that we gonna win? If PJ getting all the minutes, do I think we gonna win? Don't know about that. But
when I'm doing my assessment, I'm saying, okay, how can we be better? How can we give ourselves the edge? And it goes back to rebounding. It goes back to having a big man. Somebody who's bigger who can rebound. If it means putting Trez in the starting lineup, okay. But
I'm fine with that.
PJ ain't it. Or if it means putting Paul Reed in the starting lineup, that's fine. But there's a stubborn. I watched Doc Rivers last year play DeAndre Jordan until he couldn't play him no more. When he was like a negative 18 for the first few games of the playoffs. I don't want to see that again. And I'm seeing that now. That's my problem.
Well, see, I'm all right with that, but see, at least you're now focusing on PJ because you can't say Tobias tonight because Tobias had a decent night, even though
Tobias is still hot garbage.
But your whole thing, you keep talking about we need to trade Tobias and bring in a power forward. That argument doesn't fly with me unless you're bringing in a severe upgrade.
You can't have a bunch of $150 million players. You still may want to upgrade. The upgrade may not be this.
$150 million player you gonna go get off the trade right now?
See, there you keep asking me who I'm going to bring in
because they don't come a dime a dozen. You don't. Most of those players, Tim, are on championship teams or teams that's aspiring to win. So they're not going to just trade you this $125 million star type player for who you feel is $125 million garbage player. Most teams not going to do that for you. They're not going to do that for you.
You don't need a star player. You just need somebody who's tall who can rebound. You got to find it. You got to sit there.
Go get Boban in. Go bring Boban in. He taller. He can rebound. Hey, you just talking about somebody tall can rebound.
That's a good question, D. Market. What about Dwight? He down in China dunking on all them little Chinese boys. Do y'all think Dwight will come in here and
he would be a backup center. He can't. He ain't going. He ain't going to play him and Dwight at the same time.
No. I'm talking about get Dwight as your backup so Trez can start at power forward.
Oh, I do it.
I think that'll be actually a good move. Be honest with you, and Herb, I do agree. He said Doc don't trust Paul Reed because sometimes Paul do goofy stuff. I do agree that Paul does goofy stuff, but this is how you get the goofy out.
This is how you get Jeremy Grant. Exactly.
Is Jeremy Grant a possibility? I'll take Jeremy Grant over Tobias. Is that a possibility?
Jeremy Grant over what's it called? Portland, they hooping it.
That's what I'm saying. We talking about going against
coming here though.
No, because the point that he was made is you kept saying that championship caliber teams going to want him. He was with Detroit. And then they got rid of him. He went there.
In the off season. We're talking about during the trade deadline. That's what we're talking about this year. I'm not talking about off season. I said I wanted Jeremy Grant last year. Then when we were talking about him being a free agent, I'd have been fine with getting Jeremy Grant. But I'm talking about during the season. I'm talking about making a trade during the season. You're not going to get those type of players for a team that's thinking that got a chance to win.
No, but if it's some players out there, because if somebody was trying to tank to get this boy from France, they might want to sell their access so they won't win.
Anybody that's close to playoff contention is not thinking they could go ahead and tank at the trade deadline and get the number one pick. That ain't how that works.
But there are teams. There's people out there who has a bad roster, but they may have a good 6'8", 6'9" forward on that team. And he may. I mean, that's what we did. That's how we got rid of Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday made us good enough to be in the middle of the pack. So we got rid of him so that we could really tank, which we got.
And who did we bring in?
That's how we got Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, because we was just good. We was just enough.
So we got them years down the line. They didn't. You know who we got when we ended up trading him? We ended up getting Michael Carter Williams.
And then we said it wasn't good enough. And we kept tanking. Drew Holiday was too good.
In the Basement Sports, he said you can't start Trez no matter what. Who you going to sit though? I think we've been talking about sitting PJ. Why you think Trez?
Yeah, definitely sit PJ.
Trez is 6'7". Trez is not really a legitimate center or a legitimate big man like that. Like Trez comes in for relief of Joel Embiid, but I think Trez's true position for real will be a power forward on this team anyway. So if you put Trez in and set Tucker down, I think that'll be a real nice lineup. And if you possibly, like they say, bring Dwight in, I forgot he was still out there. You bring Dwight in to back up Joel, I will rock with that all day. I think we got a good enough team to win. Main Money said, Main Money, it wasn't just, I think that was you that said it. It wasn't just Wayne that said we got a good team. I feel we have a good team too. My only thing is if Doc is going to do what it takes, what's necessary to win in the playoffs, and if it's necessary to bench and or drastically limit PJ's minutes, is he going to do that? And I'm talking about like 12, 14 minutes a night type limited. Is he man enough to say, you know what, PJ, you hurting us more than you helping us? Have a seat next to me. Is he going to do that? If he don't,
you need not gonna come out. He got to come down with like COVID and be out for a couple weeks and let somebody else
and let Sam Cassell.
Yeah, that's about it.
Eight Curse Classic. Listen, I don't. Trez is not great by any stretch. This is my reasoning with the Sixers. I feel as though you have a superstar in Embiid, although some people don't want to say he's a superstar. One-time superstar, still a star player in the league in Harden, and you have Maxey, a rising star in the league, in my opinion. So you have star power, you have firepower, you have a big three, so to speak, when all healthy and playing together, in my opinion. So now the other ones filling in just can't be a PJ Tucker who does absolutely nothing. I'm cool with Tobias being my fourth best player. I'm cool with that, but then your fifth best player can't be, or your fifth starter can't be a PJ Tucker because it's too big of a hole. Now you open him Embiid to get double teamed. You're opening up Harden to get double teamed when they doing all that. I'm saying if you have a legit person in that spot, that means you leave for more wide open shots for Tobias, for Maxey, for Harden and Embiid to have more space to operate. So that's why I'm saying PJ's the hole on that offense, on that starting lineup.
Trade Tobias Harris. And you go get some athletic wings and call it.
You keep saying athletic wing. Are they going to shoot better than Tobias?
Tobias can't even get a shot off. Tobias is the fake.
He got shots off tonight.
Of course, because he's playing the average team. When he plays the elite teams, he goes into a bubble. You've seen this.
No, the only team. No.
You've seen him.
The only team that Tobias is going to struggle to get it to really get going offensively probably the Raptors because they got all these athletic Africans who could jump out the building and they make it hard for anybody. And that's where Tobias. That's what Tobias lacks is his athleticism. And I've been told y'all this, but I'm cool. But the way the team is constructed, I'm cool with Toby right now.
And Jaylen Brown comes, you said that he competes. We'll match up well against them.
I mean, defensively, can't nobody really match up with him.
Okay,
so you thinking Collins going to D up Green?
KD comes, he matches up against KD.
So Collins going to D up KD? Collins going to D up Green?
He's going to match up well with KD, right?
So
you're gonna have a superstar. So you're gonna have a superstar, all-star every position. This is what you think you're gonna do.
Okay, I'm gonna break
that don't happen.
I'm gonna break it
the same way when we guess what? The same way when we go up to those other teams, who they got that's gonna match up on Embiid? Who they got gonna match up on Harden? Like that's basketball.
No, because Tobias is not athletic. He's 6'7", not athletic, so he doesn't work. And then you got 6'5" PJ Tucker, who's not athletic. So you need a young athletic wings. You need that to compete. Everybody has young athletic wings. Everybody except for us. Why don't y'all understand that?
Who's Cleveland's young athletic wing?
Anybody that Mobley. He's playing out there. What? They all have athletic wings. Everybody has somebody who's athletic at that forward position.
Toby lacks, this is we going back to.
Al Horford plays forward don't Al Horford play power forward for
he do.
for Boston?
You crying?
He's athletic. Oh yeah, he's athletic.
You crying over spilt milk because you keep. I don't think.
6'11".
I think we looked around. I don't think it's nobody who you can replace him with right now who's going to be that drastically upgrade better than Toby going into the playoffs. I don't see it. If it's out there, let it happen. I don't see it.
I'll take an upgrade. I absolutely take.
But I think you can make Cure Classic. Trez is a power forward. He's a tweener. He's a power forward / center. So you can play Trez.
That's not the position he's playing.
I know.
He played power forward tonight. PJ was the center.
Yeah, he did. But this what I'm saying. It's all it takes is Doc. All it takes is Doc to make a couple crucial moves down the stretch when it needs to happen, and I'm not sure if he will. This is the one thing that may haunt us. When Paul George came out and said that when he's trying to get Doc to make some adjustments during the playoff, when they lost in the playoffs, and whatchamacallit came back on him and all that, and he said Doc refused to make adjustments, and he was stuck in his old head way of doing stuff. I will say this: I have seen him at least this year, because Doc used to be famous, remember, for rolling in the all bench lineup. He'd take all the starters. He don't really do that no more. I don't know if Sam Cassell talked to him or somebody, or because we got Maxey been playing so well and everybody been kind of playing good as the starters, that he is able to kind of flush the starters in with the bench players and all that. But I mean, it shows some flexibility. So we're gonna see come playoff time where Doc end up making the moves necessary to win. But PJ, he gonna hurt.
How tall do you think Trez is, Tim? Because you're talking about these tall, we need these tall. So he's Toby's height, but you're talking about we need these tall wings.
He plays center for the Sixers. He plays center. Tonight he played power forward. He's the backup center. You know that. So stop.
But you said you sit here talking about something. We need an athletic wing, but then you talking about
Joel as the starting center, and you got Trez as the backup center, which is undersized. So now you got everybody in the back. Everybody that comes in, they all undersized. Why don't y'all get that?
I got some good news.
I don't. You arguing two different points.
Got some good news. The Bulls is about to beat the Nuts. They up 120 to 112, 121 to 112 with 45 seconds left to go in the game. So this helps us out a little bit. Helps us keep right behind the Nets. Now we're going to be one.
It don't matter to the playoffs. It don't matter to the playoffs. Let Tim tell it.
Oh, yeah, let Tim tell it. But I'm taking every game I can get right now. So
Milwaukee
actually is in overtime with the Raptors, so we might get a 2-for-2 special, baby. We get Milwaukee and the Nets to lose. And somebody said it earlier. I don't know who it was, but you're right. We got to get out that 5th spot. I don't want to take. Tim said this before as well. I want to get at least to that 3 spot. At worst, get to that 3. And
especially since we're playing the way we're playing at home this year, 11 straight games won at home.
Yeah, if we can get home, we got to. I want the sector 1 or 2. But we definitely can't be it. 4 and 5 is just like it's a lot to want to get to the NBA Finals.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, if we listen, the way we playing and the way teams are starting to fall apart a little bit at the seams.
Because we gotta expect Joel Embiid not to be play a couple games in the playoffs. So if this team gonna be good enough to beat those elite teams out your well for at least 1 or 2 games?
That's why I think we do need to get. I think if Doc don't trust Paul Reed, which it appears to be the case, he don't trust Paul Reed. Paul Reed do goofy stuff. And Paul Reed, to me, always plays frustrated. Like, he don't play with his head. He played too emotional. And I think they need to talk to him probably about playing overly emotional and getting out of sorts. But if he don't trust Paul, they do need to go out and get somebody like Dwight. Somebody mentioned Will Adams, who used to play for OKC, the fake Aquaman.
I'll take him on squad at any time. Is he available?
I don't know. Somebody mentioned it.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we be throwing names out there. It's like, hey, listen, I could play GM on 2K and just start putting a team together, but you got to have trade partners and stuff with it at this point. Yeah, that's what Tim thinks, though. Hey, Tim.
Hey, Mark.
I got one for you. Embiid will play every playoff game this year.
What is that?
Embiid will play every playoff game this year.
Okay, I mean.
And hopefully that goes past the second round.
I never seen it done.
I mean, listen. We'll worry
about. He played every playoff game that year at Boston when Ben ain't play.
So we got swept.
And he averaged 30 points a game.
And we got swept the first round, right? So he wasn't.
He played every game. You said you never seen it before. He played every playoff game.
You're right. The bare minimum. You're right. Yo, this was a good win. Again, the Pacers are a legit team. They're up and coming. I like
Adams
the
on Memphis. Somebody said Adams on Memphis.
What happened? He is. He over there hooping in Memphis, ain't he?
They say he on Memphis.
Yeah, he on Memphis.
You start for him? Oh, okay. All right. I mean, that's
that's what I'm saying. We could throw names out there, names that we like to see in the position, but that means, especially in this, especially in this day and age in the NBA, where you have so many teams competing, like in that jumbled up spot, competing for, it's going to be hard to just get somebody to give you a good starting player, somebody that for nothing. So,
yeah,
most smart GMs ain't just making trades just to make trades.
Trez is not 6'9". Trez is 6'7", according to
Tim. Tim says 6'7".
No, somebody in the I'm talking. Sergeant Bassett, he's 6'9". According to Trez stats, Trez is 6'7".
Yeah, he's same height as Toby, but Tim said we need somebody taller there so they could do. I think Toby might get more dunks than Trez do.
It's one thing to be if you're 6'7" and athletic is one thing, but if you're not athletic, like any
athletic,
Trez was dunking on everybody tonight. Trez had like 4 or 5 dunks tonight because this is the most minutes he probably played all month.
Stop. Don't act like all them other games you done seen Trez trying to flip up layups around the basket and missing like 50 million of them.
Yes,
let's not get carried away off of one game.
That's what I'm saying. He heard I said dunk the ball next time and stop these goofy layups. He been dunking. I know.
So it's just that easy. It wasn't about ability. It was just that he didn't want to dunk it.
He wasn't listening. He wasn't motivated to dunk it. Sometimes you gotta motivate these cats.
Same way you motivated Ben. I know.
I did. We got the best we could out of Ben. What me and Ethan did for Ben was incredible. You will never see Ben play as good as he
the light skin coalition
anywhere else. It won't happen. We had Ben play at the peak of his game.
He was a 6'10" Michael Carter Williams.
Too bad we couldn't see it all the way to fruition. He got joked up too much by Tim and Herb and the rest of them boys. Let him get too comfortable in his corniness, and so they never allow me and Ethan to help him reach his full potential.
Tim, right off the camera, y'all don't even know it, but Tim got a Ben Simmons poster up there, and he touch it every night. He tap it, good play, Ben.
Like how they go in college before they leave, like they touch the joint.
They touch the door.
He calls his wife and like, I'm coming. And he touched the joint. I give you motivation before you go upstairs.
So anyway, anybody got it? Y'all got any shout outs before we get out this piece? Yeah, bro.
Yo, I want to shout out my young boy Maxie, man. Once again, I'm going back to that steal. That steal was huge, bro. That steal won us the game. This game would have been over if Maxie didn't jump on that joint inbound, dart it. And remember everybody hating on Maxie defense. That was a great defensive play. Steals do count as a defensive stat. He got the steal, got the dunk. Then Harden came down with the nice block. I don't think he'd have made that shot anyway. I don't know. I forget that was the young boy throwing that little wild behind the back layup up that Harden golfed. I don't think he'd have got that anyway. But then Toby finished it with the follow-up. So shout out to Maxie and Toby for getting clutch in the fourth. And them last, that was because remember when we was down 4, You couldn't tell me the game wasn't over. It was 57 seconds left. I said, this game is over. Maxey gets the steal. We down 2. Harden gets the block. Tied up game. We go into overtime and win. So it was a huge game. Good stuff. They tried to hose us a little bit down the end with a couple little sus calls too. By the way,
I guess you know what shout out mean, huh?
I'm sorry. Maxey is clutch. Thank you, Sergeant Bags. That's all I want to say. And a shout out. And listen, the boy Skip Bellis and Shannon Sharp, he needs to eventually lead his show. He got to get out. Once his contract is up, he got to lead the show. Him and Skip clearly don't get along. They don't see eye to eye. Skip is a noodle like that. Nobody really watches the show for Skip anyway. I know I do. Anytime I tune in, I watch to see Shannon Sharp and the boy Skip when he let him get his first 5 words out. And that's all I watched with that beginning monologue just to see if he showed up. And then once he showed up, Skip started doing the dumb stuff and Shannon got mad. But he needed to leave that.
Did you just watch the monologue or did you actually start watching some of it?
No,
like after that.
I watched the first, it was like 3 minutes. He talked to Lakers.
Okay, listen, right after that, then, after they started doing the thing, like, Skip looked so uncomfortable in that seat. He was like,
oh, really?
Like back, yeah, you got to go back and look at the jaw, man. He was sitting there looking all ashamed. He was like, I'm like, damn, like the boy looked like he was on crack or something. That's because he and I agree. And Shan questionable with sometimes with some of the stuff, but this is what happened when you start letting your guard down and you start thinking you one of them and with certain people. But I will give him props if he step up, right? Because guess what? We all had somebody who we thought was on our team or might have been somebody we thought rolled out with us, and then they show their true colors to be a nut. You try to give them benefit of the doubt a couple times. After that, you're like, nah, they corny. I can't move like that with them. And this is what Shan needs to do when he gets the opportunity to be out.
I agree.
I mean, here's what I'll say. I don't know because Shannon might be capping.
You think it might be for ratings?
He might be.
He might be capping. I've seen this boy. I mean, he's been an entertainer his whole life. So I don't know if this might be an opportunity for him to get back in the good graces of the cultural to the folk. I'm not ready to sit here and say that he was so aggravated. I mean, it could be you just got two males that's trying to mark their territory, but I don't
think that's what it is though about marking their territory. Now that being said, like I said, to me, Shan moved a little bit. You know what I'm saying? A little bit like he do a lot of teeth showing. Let's put it that way. You know what I'm saying? Literally and figuratively, he do a lot of teeth showing. So, we'll see how that go. But what happened? There wasn't even no more live comments coming. Ain't nobody.
No, it is. It's on YouTube. I don't know what happened to this.
Oh, what, it froze on here?
You gotta go to YouTube. I'm seeing on the chat. So, hey, people asking for the Cash App too, Tim. I'm trying to figure out. We talked to Tim about this off camera. I don't know why you don't want to put the information up there for y'all to show y'all generosity.
It's not a super chat up there.
But I don't know.
I did enable the super chat. See if y'all can do the super chat.
Okay. All right. Maybe we can get that. But I think Shannon, I honestly think the straw that I think what got Shannon pushed him is all of us here play sports. And some of us play a little bit more competitively than others when you play in like in leagues and all that kind of stuff. And when somebody questions your greatness or just your effectiveness on the field, and when Skip did that, I'm telling you, that joint through Shannon. Because the first thing he's about to say, remember when he said he's better than you? Shannon said he's about to say, I'm better than you, and he stopped and he caught himself. And he pulled back and said, why you gotta go there? Like, you gonna do that for him? You gonna talk about me like that? For this dude, you don't even know this dude, and I'm your co-host? That hurt that boy. I'm telling you, that's irritating. I had a couple people do that to me one time. It almost started a couple fights when you question my greatness because I know how good I was. So don't you ever open your mouth and say nothing sideways when you know I was one of the best football players you ever seen in person. That you ever seen in person, I was one of the best you ever seen on the street level.
All right, wait a minute. While he living his fantasy life. Easy money, I'm gonna address this because I didn't see it pop up in here.
You know how
hold on. Wayne sounds not smart. I don't see where I didn't say Trez was a trash player. My whole point was
that was like 20 minutes ago. They said
that's all right. I'm gonna address it because I seen my name. It wasn't on here, but I've even said that I thought Trez should be starting over PJ. But my whole point when I was saying to Tim, if you follow the show, is Tim is always talking about Tobias is so small at 6'7". Trez is the same height. So that's what I was saying. Now, hopefully, I sound like I know what I'm talking about a little bit to you now. Easy money.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Tim, you made some comment. No, you don't. I don't know if I'm addressing what you said earlier, but that was a good point that you made on the Polo chat. And I didn't get a chance to respond back to you when you're talking about the comments and everybody getting upset about Skip comments, but nobody telling him to apologize. And
Easy money. I'm not talking about behind doors. If you watch the show, if you know how to read people, Shannon makes some questionable. Wasn't he one of the ones that came and jumped down Kyrie's throat early on when everything went on?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? He starts switching stuff up when he see the community start moving a certain way. You know what I'm saying? He don't act like they wasn't using him. That's when he really started blowing up. When Shannon's up there with the Black and Miles and the Henny, because you know what I mean, now he got the black card. Like it was a little bit of Sambo-ish with that. Even though I ain't mad at somebody to drink the Henny.
How about to say why you mad at the Henny?
I'm not mad at it, but you know what? Because
you know the community.
But what I'm saying is sometimes you don't shuck and jive and dance in front of.
I don't think that was checking the job. He just keeping it real.
Yeah, it was. It was. That was him trying to pull his black card.
Okay, if you open any cabinet in the hood, you ain't going to see a bottle of Henny in any cabinet. Most not 90.
No, not mine. That costs too much. I do E&J. No, listen. I like Shannon's personality on there, but I'm just telling you, he moves. Now I'm not calling him Stephen A. He's not on that type time. But if you listen, sometimes he start being stuff a little certain way.
I disagree with you.
And then when Black Twitter started getting on him, all of a sudden he kind of straightened up a little bit. But he at least he straightened up when they start going at him.
No, I'm not disagreeing with that at all. I'm not disagreeing. I just don't like, you know what I mean, at a certain point. I mean, I guess he got a contract he got to fill out and all that kind of stuff like that. But to me, the boy Skip been doing real nutty stuff for a long time, and
thank you, man.
Nobody really be calling him the carpet on it, especially from I guess the fans and stuff like that be calling him, but like the mainstream other media, especially with this Hamlin thing, like, bro, he should have been called to the carpet extra hard on that by the media and all that kind of stuff. But nobody really seems to really care that much when.
I give an unpopular opinion on that? I don't think the tweet was actually as bad as people made it out, though.
But see, my thing is,
but when you look at the way his track record and the way he shouldn't even said the stuff he said in the beginning, but
see, my thing is, I agree with you, but I don't, because when they asked him to explain it, because in my mind, looking at it, he said, but how? Right, when asking about restudying the game, he said, but how? Then he said something about the playoff importance, blah, blah, blah. You could take that as if he's just asking the question like, well, how they going to do it? But the following part of his tweet kind of solidified really what he was saying, like, well, how y'all going to reschedule so much playoff, blah, blah, blah. And then he never said that. Like, I watched that show.
But he ended it off, though, with that, with saying, however, the more important thing is about the guy. Like,
it seemed irrelevant.
It seems irrelevant, yes, right?
But
so I get that. Have a two-way conversation, but can I just jump in real quick?
Go ahead, sure.
One of the points, it doesn't matter. What I found out was it doesn't matter if you the way the teeth was in your mind. If you felt if it offended somebody, at least you can apologize. Or if they say if it offended a bunch of people, then listen. If you love me or you care about me like you say you do, and I'm telling you that it's offensive, then take it down. He came on the record. He said, "No, I'm not taking it down."
Yes, he did.
And then so that's why it was real dismissive of people, of black people, or of not even black people, but football players, people who were just injured. They said, "This is our brother, black or white." They were like, "This is our brother on the field," and that tweet offended us. He said, "I'm not taking it down." He was stuck. He put his foot in the ground.
I agree.
And so for that, I'm saying, forget you.
I did.
I agree with Kevin Scott. Appreciate the super chat, bro. Mm-hmm. But I agree. Skip is lame, and he been lame. Remember when he tried to call out Jalen Rose, and Jalen Rose went in on him, and you know what I mean, went at him, and they tried to make Jalen Rose come back and apologize on him and all that. Him and Stephen A was two of the biggest clowns. I don't even know how people watch that show, because I don't know how they did it, but. And I agree with a lot of the stuff that people are saying. Hey, Shannon, I think Shannon's entertaining. I don't dislike him. I just think sometimes he's trying to toe that line. And I get it, because sometimes in that, he's not a Barkley or Shaq. Now, they do a lot of toe dance. They do full-blown tap dancing. Skip, Shannon do a little tiptoeing, little soft shoe every once in a while. But that being said, he does speak up, and he does represent the community at times, too, so.
I mean, he do PA assassin. I agree with you. That's his mentality. Sometimes you can't. I mean, you are a product of your environment. That's how you was shaped. That's how you was molded. But at the same time, I do think empathy should rule the day in a situation like that. Like the first thing, the last thing anybody's thinking about was even playing the game. So I mean, for you to kind of insinuate a little bit that the game still should be played, then kind of trying to say it's not a little bit like it was a little too iffy to me for you, for you to not to just come out and say, look, listen, I apologize, I'll take it down because people are even if you didn't mean it that way, like Tim said, just to take it down because people are taking it that way. So
they wanted Kyrie to do a whole apology, even though he didn't mean it that way. They wanted him to apologize to the community, go do that's another.
Yeah, they give money,
and I'm sure Skip was on board with that. You know what I'm saying? So miss me with that stuff.
No, I agree. And somebody mentioned I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole, but I think it was MOC. It would take him to it would take my man MOC to mention this. He said nobody talk about the vaccines. Listen, it could be a lot of stuff that causes that type of trauma. Now, in his case, be honest with you, I didn't know this, but they said that's not an uncommon thing for you to get hit violently in your chest and it cause your heart to almost skip a beat or get out of rhythm. They said that's not an uncommon thing. And when you look at the hit, the dude that he hit was probably at least 30 pounds bigger than him, at least. And he was running to him full bore, and he hit him all chest, no shoulder, and right in his heart area. So if anytime you can see an injury like that, you can see an injury like that happening at that moment. So, I mean, and be honest with you, MOTC, we nowadays, it's a lot of stuff that I think we take and eat and do that could cause a lot of health problems in the long run. So I don't think it's just that. I mean, if you want to say it's just that, it could be COVID. It don't have to be the vaccine. It could be COVID. I think there's a lot of long-term side effects that people got from COVID. I still didn't recover my whole smell and taste back yet. And I had that joint 2 years ago.
He lost his hair because of COVID.
I used to have locks. No, but I mean,
he lost it from the shot. He ain't even had COVID for real.
I did. I had it at least once, probably more than that. But yeah, I thought that was I just thought that was an interesting thing what happened to him too. I think Skip after his contract is up. I don't know what it is, but Shannon, I think he bouncing after that.
Yeah, hold up. And we talking about players. I forgot to mention. I don't even know how to mention the guy's name. The former Jags offensive lineman. Dude was only 38 and died.
Oh yeah, I saw
that.
That's another thing. And that's another thing. NFL supposed to be shaping a certain type of culture. After this whole thing, like with all these guys that's dying and having these problems and stuff after retiring, it should have been no question, no hesitation to just say, all right, once you know he had to be resuscitated, no. And I want to give a shout out to the Bengals quarterback. They said when they sent both teams back to the locker rooms and like told them to go to their separate locker rooms, he gathered all the captains of his team and they went over to check on the Bills locker room to see how those players was holding up. That's a class act, man. That showed that it's more than just. It shows even to the players it's more than just sports. Yeah, it's a brotherhood.
It's a brotherhood. That's what I said. They know what it's like to play in that union, play for the NFL, the National Football League.
Yeah, so Eric, that's the name. I ain't want to butcher it. Nawari, Wanari, or something like that. I ain't want to butcher his name, but that's the guy that passed.
Yeah, that was sad. I heard about that too. That was
all right, y'all. Good pod. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the love. Oh yeah, Kev Scott again. Thanks for the super chat. We appreciate you. Mm-hmm. Don't forget to follow us. We on all our platforms that we on. We on TikTok now. I'm trying to find clips to put on TikTok, but it seems like only one person be talking for like 3 to 4 minutes. But all 4 of us ain't on there on short clips. Ephraim.
I didn't know. Real quick, Charlie M. I'm sorry, I know you're about to leave. I didn't know. He said Jerry Lawler that said it happened to him. You talking about with the heart thing? He said he knew what it was. He knew what it was before we knew just by seeing it. So as I'm saying, it's not an uncommon thing that from what the medical professionals were saying to have chest trauma and then for your heart to kind of go through that.
Because it definitely gave me vibes of Hank Gathers, and I remember watching that and watching that joint had me crying as a young boy. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, that was scary. Yeah, that was the beginning, I think, of seeing something that tragic and live and in person.
Yeah.
I mean, what I saw on the field on Monday, that got me, it choked me up a little bit.
Yeah.
I stayed up and watched Golden State because I couldn't go to sleep. And you know, I don't never watch the Golden State, but anyway.
But hold on, bro. You know what?
Oh, now you're about to say you about to get people about to go at Ephraim. You about to get Ephraim in trouble.
All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the podcast.
We may talk about that next time. Thank you, Tim.
Yeah.